Fear is a powerful emotion, but I've learned that it sometimes holds us back from thriving. This video is all about overcoming the fear of trying new things. For as long as I can remember, I was afraid of what felt like everything. Anything that I tried, I shied away from. It scared me. I had this voice. I would say it's like the angel and demon on your shoulders, like talking at you. Mine were two egotistical jerks that were just in my ears all the time, telling me what other people would think and protecting me from embarrassment. This fear of doing anything new really held me back. And it wasn't until recently, probably about 4 years ago, that I really learned how to embrace the fear and move forward. The first thing that I did that I really embraced the fear of embarrassment was the Scottish Highland Games. There's something super humbling about trying to pick up a 14-foot long, for lack of a better word, telephone pole and trying to throw it end over end. And doing it in front of people. I remember I was sitting there at night, the night before, and I was just going in my head and thinking about everything that could go wrong. I could drop it. I could accidentally drop it into the audience. Like all these thoughts. But I got up the next morning and I tried it. And then this last year, I did something else that was super scary to me. I tried to take dancing with my wife. And you know what's funny? Once I got over that fear of embarrassment, that fear of the unknown, both of those things, both the dancing and the Highland Games, ended up being some of the best times of my life. In fact, I enjoy dancing so much that I still look forward to our dancing nights. Every single week, we go to a studio and we dance. But if I would have let fear win, I wouldn't have had those opportunities. And another thing, if I would have let fear win, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Fear is powerful, but moving forward and conquering fear is an amazing experience that opens up so many opportunities for us to try. So how do we move beyond the fear and go into that thriving opposed to the fear? I had a therapist once who challenged me. She looked at me and said, "Steve, could fear just be excitement disguised as something to protect you?" And I was just sitting there and I remember going, that doesn't sound right. That sounds potentially wrong. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized she may be right. Because every single one of those things that I did that I was super scared of when I first got in it ended up being some of the best things in my life. I honestly believe, and I may be completely off base, but the little bit of science, social science that I know, is fear is powerful. We remember things that scare us because it's meant to teach us how to survive in a dangerous world. And so it is a risk aversion. And turning off that risk aversion is extremely hard to do. But this thing that my therapist told me about maybe fear is just excitement in disguise, if you can rephrase it as, I'm excited to try this, not I'm afraid to try this, perhaps you could turn off that little risk aversion and give it a try. The other thing that I found most common when I was looking back and being afraid of trying things, the second thing that I noticed when I was overcoming the fear of trying something new was I was rehearsing all the conversations that I'd have, justifying this new hobby to strangers that hadn't even talked to me, justifying this new hobby to family members, friends that didn't even ask about it, but rehearsing all the potential negative interactions in my head. And by the end of these conversations, I was getting frightened. Frightened of what people may say. Frightened of losing friends over it. Frightened, I don't even know. Unjustifiably frightened. And sometimes when you're starting something new, you have to ignore the naysayers, even the ones that are deep in your head that are telling you you can't do it. You need to just say, you know what? Maybe I can't. But what's the harm in trying? Life is hard. And if you're like me, you have this little prideful, egotistical person somewhere inside your being that thinks that you should be good at everything. And if you're not good, it's not worth trying. And I honestly do believe that that is pride talking. It is a side of me that really holds me back from a lot of things. Because if I quit everything that I was not good at, I would probably sit here and do nothing but read and watch TV. And that would be such a boring life. So why is it that when we get into this idea of starting something brand new or trying something new that we feel like we have to be excellent at it right away? Why do we feel like we have to come down and just really become a professional right away? Why are we comparing ourselves to the pros and saying, oh, I'm not good enough? Swallowing that pride and going, yeah, you know what? I'm not as good as them. But that's the best picture that I've ever drawn. But that is the best I've ever talked to a camera. But that is the best I've ever played this guitar piece. That's the best my voice has sounded. Like there's so much that we can do to pep talk ourselves if we just swallow that pride just a little bit. There's a famous quote that says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And starting something new is scary, but it is a shot. And if you don't take that shot, you could miss out on something amazing. If you're brave, take a moment and comment something that you're afraid of trying, that you would like to get the courage to. Let's try to support each other as we try to do something new. I'll leave my comment down below on something that scares me that I would like to try. And if you want advice on what to look for when you're starting a new hobby, check out this video right here.